The next time you're in your room alone, turn down the lights. Think of something on your body that varies in length, such as hair. It must be clearly viewable from your perspective. Grab a ruler and, looking in the mirror, quickly grab a hair at random. You must confuse it. Hold it in position as best you can and note the length. Look down. Yours will be different. Don't look back up. Don't turn your back to that mirror ever again. There's a mailbox somewhere in the city that can solve your direst problems. Which city? That depends on who you ask. There may be even more than one. Who knows? Anyway, this mailbox isn't emptied anymore. The mail service has completely forgotten about it, but it clings on. It is located in some relatively unlikely place, so you won't spot it immediately. Mail you put inside won't go anywhere, but this box is special. Write a letter about your most pressing problem to the persons in charge of dealing with it. Write to your significant other, your boss, the IRS, and get it all off your chest. Ride yourself into deep shit with that letter. You'll see that the problem will dissolve soon, in some way you hadn't thought likely. The snag, of course, is that you can't really be sure whether you have found the right mailbox until you try. And if you haven't, things are going to get much worse once your letter gets delivered. I'd had them ever since I was a kid. I can remember being incredibly self-conscious about them, hiding them in my pockets, under books and bags. The kids at school never said anything to my face, but I knew they were laughing behind my back. I remember asking my parents to take me to the doctor to get them checked out. The growths on my hands seemed to be the elephant in the room back then, since they'd say I was just fine and change the subject, but I knew better. I had tried to remove them as a kid, but without avail. Scissors, knives, potato peelers. Trying to cut or scrape them off was always a lost cause because I couldn't continue once the pain kicked in. But today was different. It's amazing how numb you can get with a couple of tourniquets and a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was originally planning to use a sharp knife, but figured that trying to slice through the tough flesh of the growths would be too hard in my drunken state. I opted for the slightly more technological plan B. I had to hurry though. I was already pretty lightheaded and was starting to feel dizzy. My hands and forearms, nearly blue from the lack of circulation, couldn't wait much longer either. The whirling of the blender helped to put me in a sort of trance, ready to do what I've wanted to do since I first looked down at my strange deformities. I shoved my left hand in first. The immediate sensation of its sharp blade slicing through flesh was jarring. But I was surprised at how well the alcohol was working. I expected it to hurt more. I could hear the sharp metal churning and cutting, working perfectly as planned. I pressed my hand down harder. All those bad memories, all of the embarrassment, all those horrible things were now more than a thick red pulp. Breaking from the feeling of ecstasy, I pulled out before the blades hit knuckle. I smiled, taking a good look at my new hand. As for the growths, well, 5 down and 5 to go. You are home alone and you hear on the news about the profile of a murderer who is on the loose. You look at the sliding glass doors to your backyard and you notice a man standing out in the snow. He fits the profile of the murderer exactly, and he is smiling at you. You gulp, picking up the phone to your right and dialing 911. You look back out the glass as you press the phone to your ear and notice he is much closer to you now. You then drop the phone in shock. There are no footprints in the snow. It's his reflection. Coffins used to be built with holes in them, attached to 6 feet of copper tubing and a bell. The tubing would allow air for victims buried under the mistaken impression that they were dead. Harold, the Oakdale gravedigger, upon hearing a bell, went to go see if it was children pretending to be spirits. Sometimes it was also the wind. This time it wasn't either. A voice from below begged, pleaded to be unburied. "You Sarah O'Bannon?" "Yes," the voice assured. "You were born on September 17th, 1827? "Yes." "The gravestone here says you died on February 19th. "No, I'm alive. It was a mistake. Dig me up. Set me free." "Sorry about this, ma'am," Harold said, stepping on the bell to silence it and plugged up the copper tube with dirt. "But this is August. Whatever you was down there, you ain't alive no more, and you ain't coming up." When you're admitted to a hospital, they place on your wrist a white wristband with your name on it. But there are other different colored wristbands which symbolize other things. The red wristbands are placed on dead people. There was one surgeon who worked on night shift in a school hospital. He had just finished an operation and was on his way down to the basement. He entered the elevator and there was just one other person there. He casually chatted with the woman while the elevator descended. When the elevator door opened, another woman was about to enter when the doctor slammed the close button and punched the button to the highest floor. Surprised, the woman reprimanded the doctor for being rude and asked why he did not let the other woman in. The doctor said, "That was the woman I just operated on. She died while I was doing the operation. Didn't you see the red wristband she was wearing?" The woman smiled and raised her arm. "Something like this?" A 15-year-old boy in a small town in Maryland sat down at his computer after getting home from school one day. He turned it on and logged into an instant messaging program, and was then surprised to receive a message from a classmate of his who'd been absent that day. It consisted of 2 words, "Please come." Confused, the boy sent a reply, asking why he'd been absent that day. After 2 more messages in 15 minutes with no response, he decided to get on his bike and head over to his classmate's house. It was a short ride, only about 5 minutes away. When he got to the house, he found the door was unlocked. Inside, partially dried blood was splattered over the walls and floors, and an unrecognizable figure was crumpled against the far wall. It was missing an arm and a leg, and the bloody streaks on the floor led away from the body and into the kitchen. The boy slammed the door closed and immediately called 911 on his cell phone. When the police arrived, they found 3 corpses as well as tracks leading away from the house from the back door. The forensic report concluded that the entire family, the boy's classmates and his parents, had been killed sometime the previous night. Somewhere in the world there is a collection of books. Perhaps it's in a dusty, unpainted shelf in the back corner of someone's attic. Perhaps it's set of musty boxes in the basement of some tiny obscure library. It contains a few hundred volumes, all handwritten, ranging from leather-bound volumes with yellowing pages, 200 years old, through to the modern spiral-bound notebooks. All of them are diaries. Some by famous people, some by not-so-famous people, but all by the most horrific madmen and murderers the world has ever known. And the collection is growing, for if you ever find it, you will hear a faint scratching sound coming from the newest volume of the set. This volume will be new and filled with blank pages except for the first. On this first page, you will find the beginning of your own diary, written in your own hand. It was her eyes that first attracted me to her. I didn't believe in love, but the first time I gazed into her beautiful green eyes, I knew she was the one. I loved seeing myself reflected in those eyes, looking deep into her soul and knowing I was a part of it. It's kind of stupid, but I even wrote poetry about them. I don't remember much, but I told her there's so much life within your eyes and so much love. Oh God, I loved the way the light danced within them. I just couldn't imagine not being able to stare dreamily into them. Now, if I could just find a box that was half as beautiful as her eyes, I could stop carrying them around in my pocket. In many stores and establishments that provide videos of a less than appropriate manner, there is a business card. Some stores keep it well hidden, locked in a safe, and will deny its existence. Others will show you if you ask it for it by name. None will have it displayed in the open. On this card is a name, Moonlight Films, and a contact number. It's always a local number. Go to any payphone in any city and dial the number. The answer will be prompt, but all you will hear is silence. Wait for 30 seconds, then you will be served. A dry, monotone male voice will ask you one question. Is the road from life to death dark? If you answer with anything but the correct reply, he will hang up on you. If you fail the first time, I'd suggest not trying again. The correct response is, it is moonlit. If his question is answered properly, the man will say one address in your city and then hang up. Go to this address and you'll find that it is a small, dingy apartment. The carpet will be dirty, the wallpaper flaking and wrinkled, the windows cracked. It will smell of tobacco, smoke, and decay. On the stained old coffee table, there will be a paper bag. On this bag, you will find your full name in red Sharpie. Open the bag, and you will find an unlabeled videotape. Take it and place exactly $10.99 in the bag and leave. You can watch the tape if you like, but you don't have to. I warn you, it's not pleasant. You will see a room or chamber papered in desiccated skin. The furniture will be crafted from flesh and bone, but all of it will be alive. The tape will last approximately 32 minutes and will depict the murder of a person and the subsequent crafting of their body into another animated furnishing. You have rented this tape for 1 week. You must return it to the apartment by sliding it through the mail slot when the time is up. After that, never return to the apartment. Never return to the store you received the contact number from, and definitely don't call the number ever again. I'd also suggest you not keep the tape more than a week. The owners will not be satisfied with a mere late fee, and a good home can never have enough accessories. A strange ringtone plays on your cell phone. You reach for it, but whoever it was must have hung up. A wrong number, maybe. You look at the phone anyway. You've missed a call. You listen to it. When you put the phone to your ear, suddenly you hear screams of pain. You toss the cell across the room, but you can still hear it. When you finally pick the phone up to see who the call was from, you realize whose voice it was. Yours. In the heart of Washington, there's a house that used to be owned by a family of 5. Nobody really knows what happened to them. Their neighbors at the time say that there were no signs of weirdness or fear in the family. The common testimony is that one day there was nothing wrong. The night that followed, there was very loud noises coming from the house, and although people in the area came to investigate what was keeping them up, the windows were blocked by millions of post-it notes, and the windows would not break. The following day, the house was empty. Nobody has lived in that house since, but people have gone inside. In every bedroom, there is a mirror facing the corner of the room. If you turn it around, it won't show your reflection. The area you'll be standing in will be empty. They say that on the rare occasion, you'll see the person who used to sleep in that room mutilated and bandaged from head to toe. If you turn around with your eyes open, all they know is that you don't exist afterwards. You're at work alone when you suddenly hear the copy machine start up. You walk out to take a look at what's going on and see several copies filling the tray. Picking one up of the pieces of paper, you discover that it is a copy of a picture depicting you sitting in your office chair, dead, with your eyes torn out and your throat cut. The others are the same picture, but taken from increasingly bizarre angles. There is no original picture in the copy machine. In fact, the machine's been out of toner for a week. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.